Hello everyone, I hope that you all are doing well and preparing best for your examination. So without wasting any time, let's go to the video directly. First we will identify what are the important news today and then we will try to analyze them from exam point of view. So this is Tuesday, March 31, 2022 newspaper, Delhi edition. Okay. Now let's see identify the important news. Modi moots for free trade agreements for Bpsc. We have to give it a read what he has said. Imran loses majority after key partner sides his opposition. Okay. Who will be the next prime minister? Shehbaz Sharif will be the next prime minister. This is the only thing required. No, it is not even fixed. We'll see. Okay, then there is nothing here. Okay, nothing here. DA hiked by 3% for government staff. Okay, working hard to help in Sri Lanka, says Jaishankar. Fine. These are important news. Now let's see if anything is here. Okay, nothing is here. Nothing is on this page as well. Okay, and what is this? Doctor protection Assam after death of gynecologist. No. Order for being stayed by higher bench Calcutta judge. No. These are not important. I said not important. Let's see. ISRO to set up tracking of space debris is very important because space debris is a new kind of pollution that we are going to face in very near future. Okay, and 70 no, these are not important. India's food response as Vasudev Kutumbakam. Okay, we'll give it a read. It gives us some idea regarding how India has developed its food resource. I think so. Fine, and how we can help the other countries. By reading the caption, it feels so. We'll give it a read. Identity and privacy, it was bound to come. It is based on 2 days ago news. A parliamentary bill that ICAI needs to take. No, we'll not be doing this. Shifting sands, Arab countries and the US should seek to dent within and we'll see. Not very important per se, but we'll see what can be done. Explaining Sri Lanka economic crisis, we have done it 3 or 4 days ago. We'll just give it a read. I don't think it is very important for our examination point of view, but we must know it, what kind of economic crisis it is facing and why that economic crisis has happened. Race to bottom for gig workers, it should be a good article stating the challenges for gig economy. Let's see what it is. After that there is a text and context page. We'll give a read to the gist only. There shouldn't be much in this because Facebook cleanup attempt on political messaging, it will be there for 2-3 days now. Don't worry about it. Find India Germany discuss Ukraine situation. They will. Sariska base receding. Okay, tiger safe. And there is nothing here also. No mandate for social media verification, privacy and safety. Important minister. Fine, that is not important right now. A question: Gandhi Miss Anand Sharma note for bill to amend SC list in Jharkhand. No. Who has given the nod? Rajya Sabha. Okay, fine. We have to see. This is important. Government sends team to evict pass. No. To bid farewell to seven. No. These are not that important. Okay. No. Fine. We have to see this. Import of plastic bottles for waste processing allowed. I think it will be under plastic waste management rules. We have to read it and understand where it is exactly. Okay. There is nothing much. This Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov is in China right now. He's yet to visit India. So this is a good chemistry evolving. Okay. We'll see. There's nothing much here. Okay, there is nothing much on this page also. On this page also there is nothing much. Okay, then I think we have identified most of the important news. So let us move directly towards the analysis section. So this is the first news. Modi moves for free trade agreement for Bpsc. Okay, so our prime minister is talking about FTA in Bpsc country. It is a good move. Why it is a good move? It will lead to enhanced trade cooperation, which is one of the 14-point pillar of Bpsc. Okay. MEA says India will be the security pillar of the grouping. Obviously, India is one of the biggest economy in this grouping, so India can act as a security pillar for this grouping. Prime Minister Narendra Modi called for strengthening of Bimstec and welcomed the unveiling of charter of organization that connects the littoral countries of Bay of Bengal. Now look, there has been a charter signing. Okay, it's not signing, unveiling of charter. Fine. The summit is concluded in Colombo. This is important. Where it has concluded? It has concluded in Colombo. Addressing the meeting virtually in Hindi, Mr. Modi said, "Today we have adopted the charter of Bimstec. So charter has been adopted. This is an important step. Fine. Charter has given Bimstec a new orientation and concrete goal. Under the charter, the members were expected to meet once in every 2 years. Two component. Prime Minister called for a FTA among the member countries. He mentioned the necessity of coastal shipping ecosystem. Fine. And electricity grid interconnectivity as two are necessary component for evolving shape of Bimstec. India will be the security pillar of Bimstec, and official of ministry MEA said in the conclusion summit. The summit saw declaration of master plan for transport connectivity that would provide a framework for regional and domestic connectivity. Rudendra Tandon, MEA Joint Secretary, charge of Bimstec and South Asian region, stated the signing of charter was the main outcome. Okay, so what was the main outcome? Signing of charter was the main outcome of the summit. With charter, Bimstec now has an international personality. It has an emblem, it has a flag, it has a formally listed purpose and principle that it is going to adhere to. It represents significant evolution of grouping from our perspective. Signing charter was the most important outcome. Okay, from Indian perspective, what was the most important outcome? Signing of charter. Fine. Now there is a DA hike by 3% for government staff. Very happy news for many of the government staff. So it is increased by 3%. In the meeting chaired by Prime Minister, cabinet meeting chaired by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, that would lead to increase in 3% over existing rate of 31% of effect from January 1. The increase in accordance with the accepted formula, which is based on recommendation of 7th Pay Commission. It will benefit about 48 lakh central government and 68.62 lakh pensioners. ठीक है, it would be about DA is dearness allowance and DR is dearness relief. Central government staff and to pensioners. So what does pensioner get? They get DR, and what does this staff gets? DA. Fine. It will cost about per annum. How much? About 9,500, more than 9,500 crores per annum. Fine. So these are the important news on page 1. Yes, there is one more news. Working hard to help Sri Lanka, says Jaishankar. Yes, we should work hard to help Sri Lanka because it is going through one of the worst economic crisis of its time, and it is our responsibility as a neighbor that we should help, because any kind of instability in Sri Lanka will lead to instability in India, at least the adjoining parts, right? So recognizing that timing is the key for Sri Lanka as it tries to cope with the grave economic crisis. Indian system is working overtime to expedite its assistance to island nation. External affairs minister said this. Things cannot be done at a normal pace. Everything must be fast tracked. Okay, our system is working overtime. What would have taken weeks earlier is now taking days, he said, adding that he recently finalized Indian credit line of 1 billion for essential import would be operationalized very soon. ठीक है, जो हम लोग क्रेडिट किए 1 बिलियन का, वो लाइन ऑफ क्रेडिट दिए हैं, वो बहुत जल्दी ऑपरेशनलाइज हो जाएगा. ओके, उसके अलावा तो इसमें कुछ खास दिख नहीं रहा है. Recent bilateral pacts, including private sector investment from India, has strengthened Sri Lanka overall position. That Sri Lanka, closest neighbor, is investing as much here as in a statement is a statement in itself. Means we are the closest neighbor and we are investing in Sri Lanka means something, right? Means that we believe in its economy, we believe in Sri Lankan government, and therefore we are investing. This will create a positive investors mood or sentiment, which will lead to more investment, crowding in of investment. Okay, and this, just remember, joint development of Trincomalee oil tank farms. Okay, energy project in north and east to be supplied by National NTPC and Adani Group. Okay, now let's move further. This page done. Second page nothing. Third page again nothing. Fourth page nothing. Fifth page nothing. Let's come to the ISRO to set up tracking of space debris. Okay. Now let's see new radars and optical telescope under Netra. We know that Netra was for what? It was for this tracking of space debris. So Netra project is the new radars and optical telescopes are being deployed. Let's see. With space junk poising in creating threat to Indian assets in space, the Indian Space Research Organization is building up its orbital debris tracking capability by deploying new radars and optical telescope under the network for space object tracking and analysis. मतलब नेत्रा के अंदर ये क्या कर रहा है, नया स्कोप, नया ऑप्टिकल टेलीस्कोप और नया रडार्स को लगा रहा है. स्पेस डेब्रिस ट्रैकिंग radar with range of 1500 kilometers and optical telescope will be included as part of establishing a effective surveillance and tracking network under Netra. Okay, you remember S. Somnath is the new ISRO chairman and our space secretary. Just remember this may come in any exam. The government has given go ahead for deployment of radar which will be capable of detecting and tracking object 10 centimeter and above size. So this is the resolution of object. Any object which is less than 10 centimeter, which is more than 10 centimeter, will be tracked. He said it will be indigenously designed and built. So we are going to design and build it indigenously without any foreign scope help. Our vital ground radars and object telescopes are vital ground based facilities for keeping eye on space object including orbital junk. So there are many orbital. Look at this diagram. These white dots are nothing but satellites. Okay, satellites. See, look at this satellites. Fine, how they have crowded the entire Earth. Fine, we have planned to have two such radars deployed 1000 km apart for space diversity, spatial diversity. We have at present we have a multi object tracking radar at Sriramias, but it has limited range. To protect our space asset we need more augmented. So why do we need this? We need this to protect our space asset. Okay, and these are some of the datas, obviously not important. And let me see here. It may have something. Space junk or debris consists of a space. Yes, this would be a good thing. It consists of spent rocket stages, dead satellites, fragments of space objects and debris resulting from ASAT. Okay, ASAT is anti-satellite missiles. There are, so when we destroy a missile, it will also create debris. They move at an average speed of, these debris move at an average speed of 27,000 km per hour in low Earth orbit. These objects poses a very real threat as collision involves even centimeter sized fragment will be littered to the satellite. Okay, so you understand momentum P equals to mass into velocity. So even if a very small piece of debris is there, say about 20 centimeter piece of debris is there, it moving with such high velocity of 27,000 kilometers per hour, it will damage the satellite that it will be colliding with. Okay, it will have lethal effect on that. It is coordinated by these agencies, not important. ISRO officials say that the volume of debris is likely to go up in coming years. Obviously we are also expecting that volume will go up in coming years with increase in space missions globally. 2021 saw highest number of space object launch ratio, the ISRO reported. Okay? In other words, more space objects are placed in orbit per launch. In 2020, 522 objects were placed in space with 102 launches compared to 1860 objects in 135 launches in 2021, the report said. Okay, so per launch we are also increasing the space objects. Fine, so this is a news, important news. Now let's move further. Is there anything else on this page? Of course, I see there wasn't nothing on this page. We'll again, as usual, we'll do the editorial part at last. First we'll analyze most important news that will give us the context for maybe for the editorial or the other day editorial, right? There is nothing here. Yes, Sariska Tiger Reserve is in Rajasthan. I have already mentioned yesterday. Okay, so we'll give it a read, just a brief read. Sariska blaze means there was a fire incident in Sariska, you know, yesterday only. Receding tiger safe. So the fire is receding, it is coming down and tigers are safe. There were 27 tigers there. Look, I was correct, the reserve has 27 tigers. Okay, so attempts are being made to douse the massive fire at Sariska Reserve in Alwar district, Sariska Reserve, massive fire. Just remember these things. Air Force helicopter stepping in and all those things are happening near Salisra Lake to spread over the forest. Take a control the base for ferrying water from which lake? Salisra Lake. So what could be a potential question, that which lake is near सर इसका tiger reserve. The name of the lake is Salisara Lake. It started on Sunday and had spread over 10 square kilometers and is gradually reducing. No tiger was affected. Okay. Tiger Reserve Field Director, this said this anything they would have said. More than 200 people, including forest staff and villages, were engaged in rousing the base, and residents of the nearby village were asked to move safely. Operation to continue. Yes, operation will continue unless the fire is taken care of. Okay. So with this page is also I think over. Yes, there are no much news. So let's move on to the next page. Yes, there is one news here, small news. Nod for bill to amend SC list in Jharkhand. I have already said, we have already dealt with this yesterday, how it is done. Rajya Sabha on Wednesday approved the Constitution Scheduled Caste and Scheduled Tribe Order Amendment Bill to remove Bhogta caste from list of Scheduled Caste. The Bhogta caste will be included in Scheduled Tribe. The bill also amends the schedule to Scheduled Tribe to include these tribes in ST list. Okay, the bill also amends the scheduled to Scheduled Tribe order. Okay, so this is in this order, the above order, there must be schedule where it is written that these are the tribes, and in the order the various provisions related to those tribes will be written. So this present context, the bill will also amend the schedule to this Scheduled Tribe order. Fine. Now let's move to the next page. Let me zoom out. Yes, there is an important news here. Import of plastic bottle for waste processing is allowed. Let's see. After banning the import of plastic waste in 2019, the Environment Ministry has permitted container made up of polyethylene terephthalate as plastic waste to be imported for processing. Okay, the PET polyethylene terephthalate. The decision to roll back the ban was taken last year after representative by several industries in business for processing waste said there is too little waste available for them in India and this would be causing them financial losses. Okay, the no economies of scale will be there, so they want new waste generated so that they can recycle it. Firms which has applied for permission could import polyethylene, PET flakes and bottles up to 50% of their production. So there is a upper line up to 50% of their production capacity. Polyethylene PET is a category of plastic. Nearly 90% of domestic supply containers using them is already recycled. Okay, 90% जो उसको use कर वो already recycled है. However, this reprieve has not gone down well with environmental group. Obviously, if you want to increase the waste for financial gains, then it will not go good with the environmental group. Consultative meetings will be there. Fine. So there is nothing. There should nothing much be here. Look, try to understand the context and background of the news and get it done by the static part. Under which order these imports were first restricted and now allowed? This would be plastic waste management rules. Okay, fine. So let's see if anything else is left. Nothing is left on this page. And this Lavrov, Russian foreign minister, is in China for Afghan talk. After that he will be visiting India. Okay, we'll see how it unfolds, but right now there is nothing on this page. Also economic page is also nothing. On sports page there is nothing. So we come to the end of this analysis of important news and now move towards analysis of editorial. So in this article, in this editorial, identity and privacy, yes, it is related to prisoners identification bill that was in newspaper 2 or 3 days ago. Okay, and what was the provision? That it will be storing the biometrics of the accused or the under trials for 75 years, and if the under trial is set free by the court or acquitted, then what will happen? The records will be deleted and the records will be maintained with NCRB. Fine. So we will see what are the various challenges to it, and let's move further. The Union government latest proposal to enable collection of biometric and biological data from prisoners beside their usual physical measurement, photographs and fingerprint raises serious questions about its legal validity. Fine. Such questions are inevitable in area where people look at official effort to gather personal data with suspicion. So it is inevitable है क्यों? क्योंकि गवर्नमेंट का जो डेटा कलेक्शन का ये है एफर्ट है वो सस्पिशन क्रिएट कर रहा है. The practice of recording the photographs and fingerprints of prisoners is more than a century old in the country, backed by colonial law dating back to 1920. The Union government now proposes to expand the idea of taking measurement to cover finger impressions, palm prints. So what will be it cover? Finger impression, palm prints impression, footprints impression, physical biological samples and their analysis. So these things it will be covering, beside behavioral attitudes including signature and handwriting. The Criminal Procedure Identification Bill 2022, which embodies its goal, has been introduced in Lok Sabha. Some members have argued that the bill went against Supreme Court landmark judgment declaring it as fundamental right in K.S. Puttaswamy. Fine, so some members argue what they have argued, that bill went against Supreme Court's landmark judgment in K.S. Puttaswamy privacy case. Some contest that bill enabled coercive drawing of samples and possibly involving violation of Article 20 Part 3, coercive drawing of samples, which protects the right against self-incrimination. Okay. So what does it protect? 20 Part 3 protect the right against self-incrimination. Very important line. There are other concerns too, such as means by what data collected will be preserved, shared and disseminated and destroyed. So we don't know how this thing will happen, how it will be preserved, data shared, disseminated and destroyed. The bill also records to preserve for 75 years and to be destroyed earlier if person is discharged or acquitted. The concern over privacy and safety of data is undoubtedly significant. Such practice that involves the collection, storage and destruction of vital details of personal nature ought to be introduced only after a strong data protection law. ठीक है, तो absence of data protection law, which is stringent punishment for breaches in its place. 1920 law enabled the tasking of measurement from convicts sentenced to prison term for 1 year and above, and anyone arrested on charge that attracts such prison term, and thirdly, one who has furnished a bond for good behavior and peace. However, the present bill include all convicts. Fine. तो 1920 वाला में क्या था, एक तो था कि 1 ईयर से ज़्यादा हो, दूसरा था कि अगर उसका बॉन्ड नहीं भरा रहा हो, ये पीस और गुड बिहेवियर का, तो ये सब के रिलेटेड में वो किया जाता था, सबके साथ नहीं किया जाता था. ठीक है, लेकिन इसमें क्या अभी वाला क्या वो सबके साथ करेगा. And anyone arrested under the law, enforced or detained under any preventive detention law. Fine. There is a provision by which arrested person not accused of offence against woman or child, or one that attracts a prison term of 7 years or more. क्या बोल रहा है? There is a provision by which an arrested person not accused of offences against women and child. Okay, तो एक provision है जिसमें कि arrested person जो कि women और child के खिलाफ इसमें offence में accused नहीं है, or that attract a prison term of 7 years or more, or the prison term of 7 years or more is attracted by that crime, may disallow taking of samples. Okay, in such cases that may be disallowed from taking a sample. So what it is there, if the arrested person is not accused of offence against women or child, or the prison term is not 7 years or more, so there can be a case where this taking of sample can be disallowed. Not all detainees know that they can indeed decline to let biological sample to be taken. Okay, and so this means lack of awareness. Okay, and it is made easy for police to ignore such refusal and later claim that they did not get detainees consent. Okay, so police can do what? They can ignore such refusal, and they will later claim that they did get the detainee's consent. Okay, fine. So what will police say? That the detainee has by consent given us this sample, but in practice what they would have done, they would have ignored any refusal by the detainee. They would even beat them so that they give their samples, right? The bill is controversial as tendency to arrest activists, protesters and even innocent people and invoke grave charges is on rise now. This with this part I don't agree. Okay, controversial, bill may be controversial, but tendency to arrest activists, protesters and even innocent people and invoke grave charges is on rise. This may be not very correct news. This may be a motivated part in this article. As always, there are some motivated parts in any of the articles written on this side, the smaller articles. The larger articles are more or less very good, but these smaller articles do have this pinch of salt with them. It would be in fitness of things if it is referred to standing committee for deeper scrutiny before it is enacted into law. So this is also a process also, that any law should be first given in general to standing committee, which scrutinizes the law and makes important necessary alterations to it, and then asks for the voting, then reports to the chairperson or the speaker, who then puts it to voting, right? So more or less I agree with the article. There are good points in it, there are valid points in it, but only problem is that at some place it is showing extreme ends. That is not actually the case in country. Fine. So let's move on to the next article. Shifting sand. Arab country and the US should seek detainee with Iran. A conference of Israel a conference in Israel of top diplomats from US and 4 Arab countries would have been unthinkable few years ago, but on Monday Israel's Negev desert official from US and UAE, Bahrain, Morocco and Egypt and Israel gathered to discuss security partnerships, Iran and other issues, signaling a decisive shift in West Asian politics. Fine, this is showing what? This is signaling a decisive shift in West Asian politics, geopolitics. Ahead of summit, Israeli Prime Minister Naftali Bennett went to Egypt to meet President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and Abu Dhabi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Zayed. The UAE and Israel, which normalized relation as part of Abraham Accord in 2020. Okay, there was an accord called Abraham Accord where UN and Israel came together, have stepped up their economic and security cooperation even since. The Abraham Accord signaled that Israel continuing to occupation of Palestine territory was no longer an Arab-Israel problem. Now Arab-Israeli relations have gained new dimension. So as per the Abraham Accord, Palestine issue is not a issue of Arab-Israel problem, right? Arab-Israel relations has got new dimension, has gained new dimension, with Mr. Bennett reportedly posing Middle East defensive envelope featuring Israel advanced missile defense system. The Negev conference signaled new era of security partnership between these erstwhile foes who brought together by regional and global development. Okay, so what it is saying, Negev conference signals a new era of security partnership between these erstwhile foes means dushman. Okay, so it is saying that this Negev conference is a new era, new dawn of security partnership between the two enemies. Fine. America's allies in the region face two challenges. What are the two challenges to American allies? One is the shrinking US scrutiny umbrella. Obviously, the bedrock of partnership between US and its Gulf allies was America's security guarantees. Okay, what was the bedrock? The bedrock was American security guarantees in return for seamless flow of oil. Okay, what was in return? Seamless flow of oil. But the US security promise took a hit when Saudi Arabia oil installations came under attack in 2019, for which Saudi and American blamed Iran. Fine. Oil production was hit by Trump administration chose to do nothing. Since then, Saudi Arabia and UAE have come to under multiple attack by Yemen Houthi, and US has offered little help. Beyond second, the Gulf Kingdom and Israel took look at Iran nuclear deal differently from US. Okay, now this is the difference of perspective. While Washington sees revival of nuclear deal, which would impose curve on Iran's nuclear program in return for lifting sanctions, as the best way to tackle Iran nuclear ambition, the Gulf Kingdom as well as Israel uh, believe removing sanctions would eventually strengthen Tehran's standing in the region. Their worry is that if Iran is allowed to reach natural economic potential, it would translate into economic might, into conventional military capacities, and set up support for its proxies from Hezbollah to Houthis, right? So if Iran is allowed to grow, it will lead to helping of Hezbollah to Houthis, and they are the revolutionary groups that create challenges in the nearby region. Okay, faced with the US declining security role and possibility of stronger Iran, these countries are coming together to write a new collective security model. There is nothing wrong in building partnership on pragmatic realism. Fine. So what it is saying, so US declining security role and possibility of stronger Iran, दो चीजें. एक तो US there are two things. One, US security role, security umbrella in the Middle East is deteriorating, and the second thing is rise of Iran, expected rise of Iran. Okay, these countries are coming together to write a new collective security model. There is nothing wrong in building a partnership based on pragmatic realism. There is nothing wrong if partnership are built based on the principles of pragmatic realism, but that alone might not bring peace. So, but that means But just coming into partnership, building partnerships on pragmatic realism will not bring peace. If lasting peace and security are their primary goals, Israel, West Asian country, and US should seek some kind of detente with Iran. So it means that they should include Iran as well. Maybe in near terms in a small capacity, and finally with equal capacities as that of different countries. Okay. So here in this news, India's food response as Vasudev Kutumbakam, right? We have to analyze this news. Now let's see its journey from chronic food shortage. Okay, before green revolution we had a chronic food shortage. We have to depend upon aid from countries like America, and now we have reached to a surplus producer partnering with World Food Program has lessons for the developing world. So our story has a lesson for developing world. Let's see what the author wants to write or wants to convey. Global hunger is on rise, driven by climate crisis, global and the COVID-19 pandemic, shocks, conflict and poverty, inequality, etc. Millions of are living in hunger, and many more do not have access to adequate food. More people are living in hunger than in 2015, when the member states of United Nations, including India, agreed to sustainable development goals. So the goal of zero hunger, instead of decreasing to zero, it is increasing. So that is not good. That provided shared blueprint for peace and prosperity for people and the planet now and in future. In 2019, 650 million people around the world suffered from chronic hunger, 43 million more than 2014. Since the onset of pandemic, the number of people on the brink of starvation has doubled to 135 million. Can you imagine? Now there are 135 million. This number has doubled. Okay, people pre-COVID a year ago was 270 million. So 270 million was before COVID, and now it has doubled to from 135. Sorry, it was initially 135 million. Now it has doubled to 270 million. Right. India's outreach. The title invokes the concept of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, means the entire world is a family. Okay, Earth is one family. From India's traditional philosophical outlook that has gained huge relevance over past 75 years since being cited at UNGA to underline the collective nature of the crisis and matching response that is needed. At core of the concept of Vasudha, which means the planet Earth, and describes how different nations form one collective and cannot escape the common connection of concerned humanity. In 2014, UN General Assembly address, the Prime Minister Narendra Modi said, India's traditional outlook sees the world as a family, and that is linked to its Vedic tradition of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Okay, 2014 UN General Assembly, Prime Minister Narendra Modi addressed that India's traditional outlook sees the world as one family, and that is linked to its Vedic tradition of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Our tradition of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam sees the entire world as one family, underlying its relevance not just for global peace, how it is relevant for global peace, cooperation, environment protection, but also for humanitarian responses, in including global hunger, rising global hunger, and leaving no one behind. Fine. Antodaya concept is also included, leaving no one behind. The number of people in need of urgent food assistance estimated to be 270 million in 2021 because of the pandemic will grow significantly with crisis of Afghanistan and ongoing war in Ukraine. Fine. So we are expecting how many people, what amount of people? 270 million people, and that is also to increase with the Afghanistan crisis and ongoing war in Ukraine. The fallout of war is driving food and fuel prices and will add to burden of millions, especially to poor and marginalized who are struggling. So food and fuel prices are on rise. Obviously it is on rise, and this would lead to what? This would lead to burdening of the poor. Sadly, the global burden of malnutrition remains enormous. Yes, it is true, malnutrition remains enormous, with almost 150 million children stunted. Fine. What is stunting? Stunting means height to age low. Nearly 50 million wasted, and other child as well as 2 billion adults, and every other child as well as 2 billion adults suffering from micronutrient deficiency. What are micronutrients? The nutrients that are needed in small quantities in body, like sulfur, like iron, like sodium, all those things. Okay, helping Afghanistan. India's recent and ongoing humanitarian food assistance to people of Afghanistan through United Nations Food Program, where half the population needs urgent food assistance to avert a famine, is example of commitment and commendable step towards humanitarian crisis. Yes, this is a very good step. The 50,000 metric tons of food assistance in form of wheat committed by India is being sent in installment to Jalalabad, Afghanistan through Pakistan. The first consignment, part in India's in-kind contribution to United Nations Food Program, was flagged off February 22 in ceremony at Amritsar Attari border. Okay, on February 22, what we did, we sent the first consignment, And on February 24, what happened? The war in Ukraine started. Fine. By India's Foreign Secretary Harshvardhan Shringla and Afghanistan Ambassador to India Farid Mahmoodze. I was honored to be part of the historic and timely support by India. It is important to put this assistance in context of the need of Afghanistan. Over 22.8 million people, half of the population, are projected to be acutely food insecure in 2022. This includes 8.7 million at risk of famine-like condition. Nearly 4.7 million children pregnant and lactating women are at risk of actual malnutrition in 2022. So such high figures of people, number of people who are at risk in 2022 just in Afghanistan. Overall in 34 provinces are facing crisis or emergency level of acute food insecurity. So we can see how bad the condition is for Afghanistan. The WFP in Afghanistan has placed a massive supply chain and logistic infrastructure. World Food Program has done what? It has in place a massive supply chain, a very strong and very big supply chain and logistic infrastructure in Afghanistan, with hundreds of trucks and staff ensuring that food assistance reaches those who need it the most and no one is excluded. This makes each contribution and partnership with Government of India a life-saving one for children, women and men in need. So whenever we supply anything through WFP, it is going to save people. India has been a strong ally of Afghan people traditionally and has extended over a million metric ton in the past, including 75,000 metric ton in last year in partnership with WFP. So 75,000 metric ton last year, and this year how much? This year 50,000 metric ton. Okay, so we have been giving assistance to Afghanistan. At least in last 2 years we have given more than 1 lakh metrics. 1 lakh, we have given exactly 1,25,000 metric ton of wheat. In past 2 years, India has provided aid to several countries in Africa and Middle East as well, and West Asia to overcome natural calamities. I have been party to India's support to Yemen and Zimbabwe in the past, from sufficiency to assistance. India has made enormous progress in food production over the years, with inspiring journey towards self-sufficiency in food production marked by the Green Revolution, as I have already discussed. I have already told when I was reading the caption. In 2020, India produced over 300 million tons of cereals and has built up a food stock of 100 million tons. So we have a food stock of how much? 100 million tons, and we are producing more than 300 million tons, about 330 million tons we are producing, right? No, 305, 306 million tons now. The country has registered record harvest over the last few years with several enabling prices and incentives to farmers. In 2021, Indian export recorded 20 million tons of rice and wheat. So we have exported how much? 20 million tons of rice and wheat. But there is a problem. Again, rice is a water intensive crop. So what happens is that we in exporting rice, we ultimately becomes next exporter of water. But still we are water starved, at least water stressed country. So this is a problem that that is not mentioned in this article. Okay, but it is a problem. As India's food grain surplus continues to grow along with its footprint as key humanitarian food assistance player, underlining its partnership with WFP, it is also important to highlight a story of its transition from receiving food aid and now producing food aid for those in need. A long journey from chronic food shortage to surplus food producers offers several valuable lessons for other developing countries in Asia, Africa and Latin America in land reforms, public investment, institutional infrastructure and new regulatory systems, public support and intervention in agri market and prices in agri research. I witnessed some of this transformation as an agronomy student in Punjab Agriculture University around 4 decades ago. That is nearly in 80s when the Green Revolution was starting or was in its early to mature phase. Right, we saw the aspect of being we also saw this aspect being highlighted through UN Food System Summit 2021 processes, safety nets. One of the India's greatest contribution to equity in food in its National Food Security Act, equity. So we have given equity in food by NFSA 2013 that anchors the targeted public distribution system and midday meals and integrated child development services. Today, India's food safety net collectively reaches over a billion people. Okay, so today we are doing what we have in our food net over a billion people whom we have given the right to equity related to food. Food safety nets and inclusion are linked with public procurement and buffer stock policy. This was visible during global food crisis in 2008 to 2012 and more recently during COVID-19 pandemic fallout, whereby vulnerable and marginal families in India continue to be buffered by TPDS, which became a lifeline with robust stock of food grains. So TPDS has actually helped, and it is true. that TPDS has helped many poor people to at least get a square meal, so that they do not suffer, at least in this dimension, on hands of pandemic. The Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana, introduced in 2020 to provide relief to 800 million beneficiaries covered under NFSA from COVID-19 induced economic hardship, has been extended by another 6 months. So this is the background of this article. I was thinking on what background this has come. I first thought that it is on the background of Green Revolution, but no, the main background has been the extension. Yesterday's news that for 6 more months the NFS, the Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana, will be extended. The total outlay for such adds up to 2.6 trillion rupees. Now, India's support to its neighbors and other countries that struggle with food emergency and food insecurity must continue its growth trajectory. So we must help more to them because they need it at this time. For instance, in Afghanistan, it is itself the need is immense. Over half of all Afghan people now need emergency food assistance. The latest WFP food security data shows 95% of Afghan consume insufficient food, with number rising to almost 100% among household headed by women. Right. So the household which is headed by women, there is 100% people who are consuming insufficient food. 2/3 are resorting to desperate coping measures such as borrowing money or skipping meals to feed their families. 6-fold increase in August last year. Humanitarian food assistance and partnership that helps to create robust policy interventions by way of food safety and nets resilient livelihood which contribute towards global peace. So such humanitarian food assistance will lead toward global peace, and we know that in international relations only 3 things matter: national security, national interest, and global peace and harmony. So it will lead to this, and that is a very good thing. It is not just important to respond to hunger and food security needs of communities affected by conflicts, but also consider addressing them as global communities to avoid human suffering and massive humanitarian assistance that it creates. Okay, so we should consider such communities who are affected by conflicts and violences and other kinds of disaster. They should be considered as what? Global communities, to avoid human sufferings and massive humanitarian assistance. A peace catalyst. Research taken by Stockholm International Peace Research Institute (SIPRI) points to WFP program contributing to creating conditions for peace in 4 areas, including bolstering social cohesion. Okay, it is strengthening social cohesion, strengthening the link between citizen and state. Oh, it is written also here, and resolving grievances within the communities. Okay, so this will lead to what? This will lead to betterment of social capital. The Nobel Peace Prize in 2020 was given to whom? WFP. Cited that WFP role and the importance of access to food in maintaining peace. India has made major progress in addressing hunger and malnutrition, but a lot needs to be done, and we must continue this path as a trailblazer in access and inclusion through public policies and systems. For over 5 decades, the WFP has been partnering with India and has seen its transition from being a recipient to donor. So in about 5 decades ago, means 1960s, 70s, we were what? We were recipients. In 2020s, we are what? We are donor. Fine. However, we must take note of the fact that India can do more and is doing more on delivering the goal of zero hunger and equity globally. As the world's largest humanitarian agency, WFP and India are the largest, and India being the largest democracy, can leverage the partnership to contribute to addressing the food emergencies and strengthening the humanitarian response, embodying the spirit of leave no one behind and Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Okay, the spirit should be was what? Leaving no one behind. Everyone should be on board, and Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, the entire world is a family. Fine, this is a very good article. It has all good things regarding India. Yes, we are doing good things regarding the world, at least food assistance to many, because we know what is the problem. If we don't have enough food, then what is the problem? India has seen that decade. Therefore, we want that no other country should suffer like that. Okay, so let's move to the next page. Explaining Sri Lanka's economic crisis, the country's current situation is due to misguided politics and flawed external advice. Again, this will be a political kind of thing. Okay, let me read the credits of Mr. R. Rajkumar, Professor, Tata Institute of Social Science. Fine, I don't think then it is very necessary. Initially, I thought that without reading the caption. It is not necessary for examination point of view. Leave it. Race to the bottom for gig workers. The food delivery sector is heading towards quick delivery of food, but is risking the safety of delivery partners, obviously. Okay. Race to the bottom. It means what? That whoever is at the bottom level will get some aid. Okay, so everyone tries to come at the bottom level. This is not good for competition. Let's give it a read. Just read. A recent announcement by Zomato CEO of its plan to deliver food to customers in 10 minutes has raised a small Twitter storm, forcing CEO to put out a clarification. This raised several questions on nature of delivery platform and impact on delivery workers. Platform industry is all about grabbing share market. It is done by introducing innovations to increase efficiency. Okay, fine. Which is in case food delivery implies cost reduction and speed, both directly impacting the platform worker or delivery partner as he is termed. Fine. It is the earnings of worker that represents only the viable cost element. The cost reduction finally pinches his earning. Fine. It forces him to run twice as fast just to stay in the same place. Okay. Mr. Goel in his clarification claimed, we do not put any pressure on delivery partner to deliver food faster. Well, in the platform world where the customer is the king, it is the delivery partner who will face the wrath of the customer for late delivery. There are enough anecdotes, experiences for platform workers of the wrath turning ugly with customer even refusing to pay, leaving partner at mercy of the platform, which often is insensitive to the grievance of the worker. Fine, this is irrelevant. Okay, this is saying about the grievance of the worker, that many times when the delivery become late, then the people don't pay, and when they don't pay, then the entire bill is put on the delivery agent, and that delivery partner, the platform is insensitive to that delivery partner, and he has to pay it from his own pocket. The member of parliament from Tamil Nadu was probably the most articulate among the Twitter responders. In follow-up letter, he raised among the queries average earning of gig worker employed in food delivery and average daily hour work. The Central Labor Statistic Studies and NLSIU addressed these very question in a recently completed study on food delivery platform work in city of Bangalore. Major challenges. First, on earning of platform worker, the numbers generally put out by platforms are potential gross earning of the worker, gross earning, and that too potential, not net earning actual. Okay, in system where all costs are borne by the worker, including fuel, asset cost, including cost of maintenance and depreciation, all taxes and levies, the real earnings are substantially lower. That's what I am saying. Potential, okay, so actual net earnings are actually lower than potential gross earning. Fine. Have been skyrocketing. Some attention have been given to impact of fuel. Now fuel also is increasing. Then what will happen? Fuel charges will increase, and it is said that gig workers should deliver their services in even less time. Then what will happen? There will be more and more pressure on the gig worker, and that too company take his share and give rest to the gig worker, and he has to take care of all the infrastructural things. So that is another challenge. However, other cost of elements are generally not discussed in popular report. Between two big daddies of food delivery, that is Zomato and Swiggy, they claim creating employment of around 5 lakh delivery partners. They claim that these partners can earn a decent daily wage with freedom to log on and off at will. However, our study estimates that net earning for the workers was only around 40% of the total gross earning from delivery payouts and incentives, 30% eaten up by fuel cost and another 30% by various capital costs and levies. Means out of 100 you earn 40, and out of that your 30% means 12 out of 100 rupees, say you earn 40 rupees, and from that 12 rupees gone in fuel cost and 12 rupees gone in maintenance and other capital and cost, means 24 gone. So you are left with how much? Just your 16 rupees. So this is the profit. So out of 100 rupees only 16 rupees is a profit, that is 16% only is left to them, and in that 16% the big daddies are claiming that they are earning a decent life. So from gross of 100 the net is just 16, means what? 84% is lost. Fine. What this means is that worker could make the platform worthwhile some money in the pocket after meeting all the fixed cost of application only if he stayed on the platform for really long hours. There was no question of freedom to log off or log on at will. This leads to the second question of work intensity. Our study shows that over a window of a week, worker averaged up to 13 hours per day, covering 190 kilometers each day. Mr. Goel in his response explained 8 principles around which Zomato was building instant delivery platform. The 7th principle was delivery partner safety. Well, at 13 hour and 190 kilometer travel on two-wheeler through busy city traffic, it is surely impossible to ensure delivery partner safety. Yes, to some extent it is correct. It is a problematic issue. It is very difficult to do that, but again, some technological intervention could be sought out. There is a possibility. Human value. Mr. Goel was candid to state that innovation was only the way to survive and thrive in food industry. His company has surely thrived. With current market pricing giving the company a market capitalization of crore to close to 1 lakh crore. The question is whether his delivery partners have been partners in his prosperity. The contribution of platform of technology and lifestyle improvement cannot be denied, particularly during the course of pandemic. However, there is also human involvement, okay, providing the link to make the platform an efficient delivery machine. Surely this link is equally important to ultimate success of the industry. Maybe MP from Tamil Nadu can get some answers to his query through studies finding. Okay, no, this is not important. This is just a context he has given to end the discussion. Well, this is a valid point to some extent, that yes, he has the market value is 1 lakh crore, and so are the delivery partners given contribution in this, are the given a part in this prosperity as well. But still, as we know, in capitalist society, laborers don't get this things, right? So let's move further. There is nothing much on this page. Now let's come to the context page. And yesterday we have seen that Assam and Meghalaya's boundary dispute has been resolved up to 70% of interstate border, right, has been resolved, and this is a very good news for cooperative federalism, right. On March 29, Assam and Meghalaya partially resolved 50-year-old dispute along 884.9 km boundary. It was facilitated by Home Minister Amit Shah. To resolve their boundary dispute by Amit Shah, who urged the state to resolve their boundary dispute by 15 August 2022 when country celebrates 75 year of independence. Meghalaya was carved out of Assam in autonomous state in 1972. The creation of new state was based on Assam Reorganization Act 1969, which the Meghalaya government refused to accept as areas of present-day East Jantia Hills, Rai Boi and West Khasi Hills district of Meghalaya were transferred to Karbi Anglong, Kamrup Metro and Kamrup district of Assam. Fine. So why was Meghalaya government didn't accept, was not accepting? Because some of its area like East Jantia Hills and West Khasi Hills were transferred to Karbi Anglong district and Kamrup Metro and Kamrup district of Assam. Starting from 1983, the two states has tried to resolve the border dispute multiple times, but surely only now can that an agreement could be reached. According to the partial boundary deal, Assam will get 18.51 square kilometer of this 36.79 square kilometer, and Meghalaya will get 18.28 square kilometer. Okay, so this is not important. The main thing important is what? Principle of give and take. This is based this resolution, boundary dispute resolution, is based on principle of give and take, PGT, right? So you give it a read. I don't think this is very important. Yes, we have news, we must note as news, that is it. Okay, now this Facebook thing we have already done yesterday, no need to do it every day, the same thing. Fine, and with this we have completed the editorial analysis for today, and fine, we are going to end the newspaper analysis for today. So okay, so friends, I really hope that you like this video. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe our channel and share this video with your friend. Also, keep studying hard, keep following your dreams, and keep tuned to our channel. Comment below for any suggestion. Till then, goodbye, good luck, keep studying hard and follow your dreams.